woke up once again realizing that I don't know nearly as much as I think I know. I've been living this idea that I have some strange metaphysical connection with the world and with other people, and it had been true. I thought it was true. But now I feel like I'm a mime writhing against perceived weights that were never there because I had set myself up for failure in the past. I lived a psychotic life thinking that if I found a connection with people, that it was a physical, tangible thing. That they would then react very specific ways because I was able to read them on these undercurrents of the world. This world where I thought everyone was so very predictable. And now, years later, I find myself at a loss because I was thinking and figuring that people would react exactly the ways I was expecting them to. And the jarring truth of the matter ended up being this person who I can't quite internalize. We are incredibly close. I can't internalize that. They are important to me, and I am important to them. And I can't internalize that. I have incredible difficulty internalizing that because I haven't been important to somebody that I could actually prove existed in a long time, many years. And it's this weird overlap where I used to purposely lie to myself and say that people outside of my world didn't exist. I used to try and think that if there were a situation with somebody that I couldn't physically see, that I could pretend that I had just made them up. And now I'm coming to terms with the reality that I had been lying to myself in an extreme degree for such a long time that I have to rebuild my very basic understanding of the world before I'm able to more appropriately continue living in it. The connections with the people that have been physically close to me have been largely removed because I was taking them for granted. And then the people that were all the way across the world, I'd been the closest with because that way, if something were to happen to them, I could say, well, they were never real to begin with. I just made them up to hurt myself. But now I've got a person who is both near and far, and also I have an incredibly masochistic tendency towards where I glom onto a person and I show them my deepest, darkest secrets, and I hope against hope that they don't run away. And this person did the same, but they don't think this level of intensity that I share, and neither do I. We don't think that this level of intensity that I have is appropriate or useful for either of us. And I don't know. Well, okay. I say I don't know what to do That's an oversimplification. I think I do know what to do. I think I'm afraid to do it. I think I can't. Sorry. I think I don't trust myself to be able to do it properly. I don't think. I think their fear will then feed into my own, where they think me attempting to create distance for both of our sakes may then be seen as attempting to return to my old ways in and of itself, because I would then create distance in an attempt to, I don't know. Why would I create distance? So that I would seem to be more appreciated. And this is the exact, I would go through the same thing over and over again, where I would end up manipulating people into doing exactly what I wanted because I would get such a good feel for their personality. And it's so unfaithful, so incredibly untrustworthy. And I'm trying so hard to get away from it. There's a saying that people don't change, but I think some things have changed, and I think the change is something that is so largely undefined. It's hard to say whether a person changes, but I woke up to a dream from a person from my past who I haven't spoken to in approximately 10 years. And it was so eye-opening that I then started to realize all these thoughts that I'm thinking right now. I don't know what the right path is. I think that the most important thing, though, is to communicate as honestly as possible moving forward, rather than saying what is convenient or what is pleasant. I need to speak the truth and stop hiding from it. But the truth is also something that, well, I could say that it's something that should be placed specifically, but it feels like that in and of itself is a half-truth. And a half-truth, or a truth by omission, is just as dangerous as a truth that is... truth can be a very damaging thing, even though it is also the most useful thing. It can be incredibly damaging. It's like a fire. Fire is damaging, but can also be creative. There are certain species of tree that cannot continue to copulate unless there has been a fire. But we're getting off topic. I want to be a good friend. I don't want to be the person that I was. And I don't want to manipulate the people into being my friend. I want them to be around for the sake of me, not for the sake of who I was, not for the sake of all my lies, for the sake of thinking I am a worthwhile person to keep around. I don't know how unreasonable, unobtainable that is. I don't know, partially because I still don't know who I am, because I'm still just now, years later, coming to terms with who I was and expecting results in no time flat. I've been trying to slowly work on myself for approximately 4 or 5 months now, and just barely starting to see some progress. And I'm becoming impatient in that it is not faster because I feel that I've already invested the time when I haven't. I feel that these 7 years that I've been moping should have been time that I spent doing what I'm doing now, and out of spite, I am berating myself for not doing the things that I'm doing now then, and blaming the fact that I haven't fully integrated on the past. That's not how that works. I did what I did. I'm ashamed, yet I don't think it would be right for me to say that I would wish it to be any different. There has been an incredible amount of suffering in human history, and mine has been incredibly minimal. And I've taken my minimal suffering, maximized it, and put it on others. And they haven't been able to cope with that. And now I seek to strive for more. I seek to strive for being able to grin and bear my own suffering, instead of saying, oh, I can't bear this single modicum. It almost feels as though I should be suffering more for the things that I've done, for the things that I do, although I do then make myself suffer. I would. It feels as though, since I have it easy, that I should be suffering more the way other people are, and it's not fair to me, to them, to the world, because why should I get so lucky? But instead, I should be seeing it as, why should I squander the ability to be more? Why should I be so pitilessly upset with myself? I am then upset with myself for not being as good as those who have had it worse than I am, because they've had tortures done to them that make them stronger, and I'm jealous of the fact that they have strived for better than I have when I have had no tortures of my own, or very few of my own. But I'm realizing now that the torturer in this case has been my own mind, and it had rendered me useless by and large for the past couple of years. And now I'm slowly starting to write, I'm slowly starting to read, I'm slowly starting to walk again, I'm slowly starting to return to competency, but still keep the memories from the past. Not so that I may try and hold on to them, though that is exactly what I was doing. I wasn't trying to internalize them at the past. I was trying to hold on to them for the sake of nostalgia. We remember things. We have emotional connections to things because we haven't fully integrated them yet, and we have something to learn from them that will keep us from making that same mistake in the future. The pain of the past is coming back up now to guide my hand, my feet, my mind, and say that the answers from the past will be the things that should keep me from making that same mistake in the future. And I'm finding myself in a very similar circumstance to where I had been in the past. And it is taking every modicum of my being not to fulfill the same qualia as last time. And I don't trust myself, but at the same time, I feel it's this weird trust, not trust thing. It's this weird corollary. I am passionate, engaged, and able, but I limit myself on purpose so that I may then simulate the feeling of helplessness. For if I feel helpless, then I am able to consider myself challenged. If I am challenged, then I can strive for better. Whereas if I have no challenges, I feel lost. I feel aimless, directionless without a challenge. The current challenge on my plate is to be able to challenge myself without being challenged, is to continue living in a world where I am not threatened. There are no threats. That is a hard thing for me to internalize. Being able to relax while also not relaxing. Be well not being who I was, and grow without stunting myself. These talks have been quite therapeutic. They've been useful in sorting out my memories, and I will not be stopping anytime soon. I am finally starting to give myself the freedom to do things, not only with a schedule, but without a schedule, to do things, as it were, spontaneously. And spontaneity is an incredible sign of growth compared to, well, it went in a manner similar to this. I started not being able to do anything, and then I started having ideas. Then the ideas were grandiose and amazing, and I would wake up the next day with zero motivation and poorly formed ideas. So step 3 was something along the lines of finally actually starting to write down the ideas as opposed to letting them fade into the ether. Now, not every idea should be acted upon, but I feel every idea should at least be recorded. I feel it's important. I feel other people feel that it's important as well. I just think that they forget the own importance of it because they then are in step 2. You have a grandiose future ahead of you. We all do, if we are able to listen to ourselves and communicate with others. It's quite simple, really. I keep thinking that I can't do great things because they're not simply great by default. Whereas I do great things simply by not being who I was and instead being who I am. Because the person who I was isn't who I am. It wasn't who I was then either. It was a person who was too afraid to do anything properly. And I can't allow that fear to guide me anymore. I know it still will. And I know it's going to be a long, tired fight with myself. And that's life. That's just living. Some of the people who have the most confidence I've ever seen say that there is no secret to confidence, that they are not confident, that they are as afraid as I am, but they put forth an aura of confidence. And I think that's the key. I think that's the key. I think the entire reason that I feel anxious is because I feel the anxiety of the others who are then... it makes sense. Whether or not that was a lie that I've been telling myself that I can feel other people's feelings, empathy as it were, I don't think that I am unempathetic. I think that I have been trying to keep out my thoughts, whereas I need to focus more on theirs. And now that I'm realizing, oh my goodness, the anxiety that I've been feeling has been a mix of both my own and the others. The anxiety, it's been their anxiety. And the reason that I was able to then, in previous times, I thought that I was helpless because it wasn't my feelings. but it was and also wasn't at the same time. It's this thing where I was able to cheer them up in the past, and in so doing, cheer us both up because we were so intrinsically linked. Is this true? I don't know. Am I too empathetic? Definitely. Do I need to relax? Most assuredly. But I feel the key to relaxation is the ability to laugh, the ability to smile. It's so simple. It's so simple. And yet, I feel so weak. Well, if I feel weak, I can't imagine how they feel when I perceive them as stronger than myself, but they feel just as weak. I feel like I have one of the answers. I just hope I can do something with it.